Eva got her start in the independent film industry as part of the original team of Christine Vachon's renegade indie production company, Killer Films. Working her way up on such iconic indie films as Kids, I Shot Andy Warhol, Safe, and Happiness. While working with Killer, Eva produced the Academy Award-winning film Boys Don't Cry. In 2000, she became head of production at Mad Stone Films, where she produced Rhinoceros Eyes, directed by newcomer Erin Woodley and starring Michael Pitt, which won the prestigious Discovery Award at the 2003 Toronto Film Festival. Eva's been nominated for the Independent Spirit Producers Award, and in 2002 was selected for Crane's New York Business 40 Under 40. In 2003, Eva founded Salty Features, the independent film production company with producing partner Yael Melamed. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Salty's goal is to make feature films that showcase unique vision, strong storytelling, and thought-provoking subject matter. Salty's most recent project, Paul Auster's The Inner Life of Martin Frost, premiered opening night at MoMA's New Directors, New Films, and was released by New Yorker Films. Salty's in post-production on Brief Interviews with Hideous Men, written and directed by John Krasinski, based on a book by David Foster Wallace. Salty's romantic comedy, Finn and the Blue Line, written by Anya Epstein and Dan Futterman and starring Sarah Jessica Parker, is slated for production in 2008. Please welcome Eva Kolodner.
I love working in New York. I love living here, but I love making films here. I feel like the energy that exists here is really unique. I also feel like, I don't know if any of you guys are spending time in LA, but it feels very much like a company town. It's, you know, every person that you see in every cafe and anything that you go to are all in the film business. And frankly, I don't feel like it's an enriching enough environment to be a creative person. In the kind of movies that I want to make, I feel like New York is just a much more enriching home. So that's why I love it here.
Why did you decide to become a film producer?
Okay, well, I was enjoying what you were saying about this being a one-year program, because I always say, I didn't study film. I had no intention of going into filmmaking. My film school was working on all these movies and working my way up in production, and that's why I feel like a year-long program, I think particularly for producers, is great. Like, you'll get your hands on, you know, the filmmaking process, the kind of logistical management, the all this stuff, and you'll learn, you'll have the lingo down. But really, where you're going to learn this job is doing this job. My learning in the business was always through the model of like, well, you raise as little money as you can to make a good movie that has good production values and has actors who are, real actors and talented, and you just make a good movie, and then you take it to the festival circuit and somebody will buy it for more than what you made it for. And frankly, that does not work anymore, period. It does not work. Amazing movies go to festivals. They are not, no one buys them. You need to start reading, if you don't already read IndieWire and Variety and blah, 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 but particularly IndieWire, read them. You need to start reading them really closely and critically, because I guarantee you that like 80% of the deals that you see people announcing, like, oh, they made a deal with IFC who bought the film, blah, blah, blah. They didn't buy that film. They took that film off the hands of the producers, and they charged the producers to release their film in the theater. And they promised them, like, after the money that that producer had to put in for the publicity and the print and advertising budget to do the publicity for the film, that, after it gets shown in their theater, maybe they'll output it to video and you'll make some little tiny, whatever off of it, after they take a 15% distribution fee. So distribution is a disaster right now. It's really scary. And everything's just turning upside down. And you'll see, I hope that you'll come and see Ted speak, because he'll talk in like the excited tones of someone who's ready to like make the internet work for indies and da-da-da. I personally just don't understand how that model works from a financial perspective for the producer. I feel like content aggregators are in a really interesting spot right now, because they can just have a lot of product and there's more audience than ever for independent films, and then if they are controlling a lot of product, they can make some kind of revenue model that works. But the tiniest film costs $500,000 to make. The tiniest film costs $300,000 to make. You don't make $300,000 distributing your film on the internet. it doesn't work. I think it's critically important to understand that it is a business. I think we were talking, Lenita and I were talking a little bit before about how frustrating it is that film schools do not respect the art of producing and the critical importance of the understanding of the business side of things. I hope that you will all go and proselytize to the directors whom you work with that to not better understand the business environment that you're working with is to sow the seeds of disaster in your own career and to be endlessly frustrated and have an endless feeling of complete powerlessness, because you just will never, you cannot function in a business by claiming like, oh, but I'm just an artist. It doesn't work, not in this business. It is that. How much is, like what proportion is what? I can't answer that. I mean, it's an art to the degree that I won't work on a film that I don't believe in. And that's, that's a great gift that I'm grateful for, that I have that freedom. So I have that level of appreciation for the art of it. But I also really enjoy the business of it. It's, I think the challenge of making a film on a certain budget and meeting those challenges is fantastic and fun and interesting. It makes it interesting to me. So I also hate that feeling that like the business of it is dirty. On top of like not understanding it or knowing it or whatever, that there's something dirty about getting the money side of it. Because I think the money side is really critical. It's what allows us to remain doing this art that we want to do. If you can do anything else, do it. There are a lot of ways to be involved in getting great movies out into the world. If you can't financially, for your own reasons, or just frustration-wise or whatever else, be that creative producer. There are wonderful satisfactions to being a creative producer, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, that's my job. I love doing it. There are other jobs out there where you can actually make money. They're in distribution, mostly, or marketing, or publicity. There's a ton of avenues to take in those realms, and that's where the money is. And so maybe that's an avenue to think about. If, like you're saying, you're 35 and you're like, wait, I can't be a PA, and how do I, whatever. Those jobs can also sometimes offer an opportunity to get a hand in the producing thing. Production executives at good companies, if you're at a really good company, you can be involved in some amazing films, so it's something to consider.